Uh,
Hello and welcome back to the What If Universe. Today we're joined by Dex Comics. So Dex Comics is still doing what ifs. The previous two people, if you watch The Masked Man and Broken Ronin / Anime X, those two have retired from what ifs. I thought to switch it up and have someone who's still doing what ifs. So Dex, would you like to start things out by introducing your channel to the audience for people who might not know and describe a little bit about it?
yes. So as Drew said, I do what ifs. I mainly do Dragon Ball, but I do mix in some Black Clover and My Hero every now and then. Whenever, I'm not feeling Dragon Ball that week. So, yeah.
Yeah, I get you. So for this interview, I'm just gonna try to answer questions that your audience might have, even though I didn't poll them or ask them at all. It's literally just questions I really have, but I just secretly say this anyways. So let's start things off with advice for other content creators. So, what type of content did you do before making webs, like to learn, doing YouTube?
So before I started doing what ifs, the main content I had, I didn't upload. I uploaded a little bit to this channel, but I privated them and deleted them. Was gaming content, mainly because back when I was younger, that was what I was really into. So that's what I would do. It wasn't until like way later on where I started doing what ifs.
So what actually made you choose the name Dex Comics? I'm pretty sure some people are interested in that.
So Dex Comics, it was because the first part of it, the Dex part, was actually taken from the Pokédex. I just took out the Poké part and just went with Dex. And then the comics part was because I originally did want to start covering comic books and anime, but I got pigeonholed into anime and Dragon Ball, so I just kept the Dex. I kept the comics part.
So what? Yeah, that's kind of interesting. You can keep going. My bad.
No, that was about it. Sorry.
I was gonna ask you what actually originally led you to do what if scenarios, basically.
Yeah. So eventually, I did, like most people, I came across Moscow X's what ifs, and watching those, I was like, I would like to try some of my own because some of his scenarios I liked, but I would have written them differently or done them differently. And that's kind of what led me into doing what ifs, watching other people do it.
I guess for me, for people who might ever ask me, since I don't talk too much about this, I was really interested in the Alternate History Hub's channel. He did historical what ifs, talking about historical what if scenarios. Masako was a big one as well. But there was also other TV shows that talked about what if scenarios, and also a big factor, I'll say, is comic books doing what if scenarios, because that was very interesting to read some Marvel's and DC's stuff. But if you're ever interested in reading stuff like that, I highly recommend it. But do you have any favorite what ifs that you've ever made?
My favorite what ifs are right now. My most favorite what if is what if Deku became a Power Ranger, mainly because it's I don't know. I'm really into Power Rangers right now, and having them be part of the show it's really fun for me. Trying to mix in the two universes, it's fun.
Yeah, I'm sure something like that'd be pretty difficult for me to do because I don't know enough about Power Rangers for sure.
Don't worry. Don't worry, I haven't seen most of the seasons. I'm kind of just going based off the wiki for like seasons I don't know.
That kind of makes sense. Do you have any least favorite what if that you made so far?
My least favorite is probably my most popular one, or the one that got the most views. The what if Bardock and Gine was sent to Earth. Mainly because I don't know why. I just don't like that series. It started off terrible because the first part was mostly a direct ripoff of Masako's What If Gine Was Sent to Earth, and that already just started off on a terrible ground, and it just I didn't enjoy the writing process. That's why I never finished it.
That's understandable. Would you ever consider maybe doing a remastered version, like a revise possibly in the future for anyone who might have been a fan of it?
Potentially. It just really depends if I ever feel like writing it again.
It's understandable. Have you ever reached a point where you deleted a what if video?
I don't think I have.
I will say with me, I have deleted videos, but it's only to just remaster them later for the most part. They're like, I think there's only one video that's truly gone. I think that was due to a rendering error, but that's all I can think of for actually deleted what if videos I have.
Well, yeah. If it didn't render properly or something, yeah, I'll delete it. But if it's like if I already posted it, it means that it's as good as it got. Unless I make one that's really really bad, I don't think I'll delete a video.
I've been tempted for a while to delete my first version of What If Light 1. The problem is the views are too high, and if I do delete it, it would tank my channel too heavily at this point. So I just leave it up for learning purposes, I guess, at this point, or until I get enough views to recuperate and then just get rid of it, kinda.
Yeah, that's why I haven't deleted my Bardock and Guinea. What if it's got like 300,000 views? I'm not gonna delete it anytime soon.
Yeah. Do you have an anime you like to make what ifs about, potentially? Like a preferred one that you do what ifs?
Yeah, Black Clover. Just because I don't know, I enjoy that series a lot more than most of the ones I'm watching right now. But it's unfortunate because it does the what ifs I've done on it don't get that many views, which kind of makes me not want to do them. But I still keep doing them even if they don't get that many views because I enjoy it. And yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Yeah, I think that's an unfortunate thing that people realize when you get into this. Like, there's something you want to do, but it just doesn't get the views, so it doesn't seem worth it to a creator. Just continue something, you know?
Yeah, unless I'm like really passionate about it, I probably wouldn't continue it.
Is there a universe you'd like to make a what if on, but you haven't covered yet?
Yes, because I know some people have requested it, but Yu Yu Hakusho, because I've seen the anime all the way through, and I should probably start rewatching it, because it's a really good show. For those who haven't watched it, I'd recommend it.
Yeah, I know with me, it's either between Bleach or Naruto. The issue is with Naruto, I never finished the war arc, so currently I'm grinding through it, and there's so many episodes to get to the end. So my expectation is by summer to end it off, but that's if I'm watching at a crazy fast pace, which it depends, you know. Some days I feel like watching 10 episodes, some days it just drags and I just watch 2, you know. It just depends.
Yeah, it does depend on your mood, how fast you finish an anime.
Like, I know Bleach in parts drag towards its final season, and that's just how it was set up. People's like, oh, it'll get better once Bleach does their work. It's like, great, I get to watch another war arc in 2021. Seems like I have a pattern.
Oh, don't worry. I watched the show about a pandemic during the pandemic.
I remember I tweeted something about that. It was like in the year 2021, this virus thing just ravages whatever. But it's quite interesting. Should content creators allow their fans to dictate what you make? This is a pretty interesting question to think about.
I would say it's yes and no. There's got to be a mix. You know, you gotta put most of your input into it, and if you think that other people have better ideas, and yeah, you should implement those, but focus on yourself a little bit more. Like, if you want to have Goku marry Launch, for instance, and you don't think they would have a kid, or they would, It just really depends. Because I know that for the most part, I let the Bardock and Gine what if. I know I let the comment section decide a lot of what happens, and it just kind of didn't mesh. That's why I didn't really like that series, because I didn't put too much of my own emphasis on it. I guess my own input in it too much, and it just became a mess.
I think my favorite time to take input is with my what if I was an MHA, because I kind of like taking commenters' feedback to think what my character would do with my particular skill set. It gets kind of interesting sometimes.
Yeah, you should always ask the fans, because then they can come up with better ideas than you can sometimes. I know of a lot of oh shit, did my computer just turn off?
I mean, you're still here.
Okay, then it's just my screen that turned off. Yeah, because sometimes they can come up with better ideas and help you flesh out the story more. But for the most part, I think that you should put more input into it than the commentators, than the audience. I mean.
I think the most interesting thing to do with a what if like that is to cover scenarios that you don't see canonically happen, because with the battle trial arc, for instance, I had my own instance where I had to do it. So I had to. What I did is I asked the fans who you want to win. Do you want my team to win or the other team? Because it could impact later in the story. So I chose my team to win. So I was like, okay. So I was put at a pretty heavy disadvantage because my quirk, obviously being a contact quirk, I would have to get direct contact. And if you have someone like Denki who uses lightning, that's a very difficult task to do.
Yeah. It can get hard because sometimes they'll make it harder on you, but if you're doing like a non-canonical, yeah, you should let like more people dictate, you know?
Oh, well, yeah, because we don't know the original outcome of it to a degree. Like, we can know who won, but we don't know what led to getting to a result, you know?
Yeah.
So, as someone who makes what ifs, what advice could you give to me or other what if content creators who make what if content, I guess?
I would. Wait, what? Another advice? Wait, what was the question?
Let me re-explain. Okay, so do you have any advice you want to give to what if content creators like myself who make what if content?
I would say first keep your videos consistent, like make them consistently, like at least like you do it once a week, and add other videos between. I would say
that's currently what I do.
Yeah, try to keep a consistent upload schedule, because that's what really killed my channel. I don't have a consistent upload schedule. Oh boy. And don't just do one series. Don't just pigeonhole yourself, because that can burn you out really quick.
I think that's pretty good advice to take back.
Yeah, I would say that's about it. Also, make really good thumbnails. And
all right.
That's a bit.
What do you think about the what if community in general? Since we're reaching a point that I recognize that we're reaching a point where we're not just AniTube anymore, but we're more of our own subgenre of YouTube now, which is very weird to think about.
It is getting to that point where we're becoming a subgenre, but other than like where the point where I don't think we've reached the point where most what ifs are fan fiction for the most part. Like, we're getting to that point where like a lot of it is fan fiction actually. But overall, the community, I think it's been pretty good. There hasn't been like too much drama between people. So if it keeps growing, that's the best we can hope for, so we can all succeed.
I guess that's pretty good to think about. To shift things a little bit away from what ifs, do you have a favorite like non-what if video you've made so far for your channel?
I haven't made that many non-what ifs videos, and most of them have been like pretty low tier edits. So not really. I do plan on making more non-what if videos, but for the most part, not really.
Yeah, I kind of get you. When I was talking to a few other people, it's like I was trying to figure out, do I want to keep doing only what if content, or do I want to do it in betweens? And that's what I initially decided. I'm going to still give once a week for a what if, but for any other time, I can just do whatever I want, basically something like this or whatever. And so far, people have been enjoying it. I think it's been going fine so far. If things change, but it kind of gives a break, because writing, as you probably know, takes a long time.
It does. And it's good to expand further than just what ifs. Because you may never know. One day your just what ifs may not be as good. Like the views just will drop. It's always good to expand.
Yeah, that's how it feels sometimes, because there's times where I do a part 1 of a series that does really good, and then when I do a sequel with it, it just doesn't do as well. Do you have any advice to people who reach a point where they don't make as much views, or you think that's just an algorithm thing, potentially?
I don't know, because my views aren't that good, to be honest. Because I'll go from like a part 1 will get like 20K views, and then I'll release like a part 2 maybe a week or two later, and it won't even get half of that.
Because I've always been curious, would it hypothetically be better just to release one after another and just do the whole story? Because I know AnimeX, when he did that, it worked out relatively well, but he also ran into the same problem, it seems like.
Yeah, it's really hard to do that, because if you do it consistently, like one after another, you can become like really tired of that story by the time you finish it, or even halfway through it. So it's really hard, because some people will stay around to watch it and others won't. So that's why I create more brand new what ifs than sequels, because it's what gets the views. Newer ones get more views than the sequels.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people ask me, like, when you're doing part 2 of this or part 6 or whatever, it's like, when people lose interest, it's hard for me to get my own interest back in the same. So I think trying to show that to viewers by asking different people whether they burnt out or still do it, I think it's important that they know, like, how we as content creators feel,
Yeah. Most of my what ifs are like that. I'll start like a part 1, and even if it does good, I might not continue it, because I know it won't. I have like it won't do good for like the rest of them. So for like a part 2 or something, because I know my channel, and a lot of part 2s never get like a good views. They used to, but not anymore.
So
Go on.
I was thinking about moving away from that subject, Ben, since I think we kind of beat it down a bit. Do you watch any what if content creators, or you recommend any?
I still watch them. I don't watch them necessarily. I mostly have them like I use my Switch as for YouTube, so I have it like right next to me while I'm writing scripts or doing something else. I still watch you. I watch Salad plus Ultraman. I still watch people.
Yeah, because I know with me, it's like I watch a large amount of people, but at the same time, there's no guarantee if I follow someone continuously with a story if I'm not hooked with the first part. That's usually how I do stuff.
Yeah, it's the same for me, to be honest.
What is something you want your fans to take back from watching your what ifs?
Um, Mostly just think about and just think about it more. Like don't just think that a story can end one way when there's like multiple endings to it. That's just really about it. I have something in my throat.
It's fine. I'll give you a second there. Is there something in the what if community people should look out for, like any bad experiences you might have had with another creator watching a video, or a trend you don't currently like what's going on in the what if community?
I haven't really had that many bad experiences with the what if community. Mostly everybody I've talked to is pretty nice. I will say just because someone else does an idea that a popular what if YouTuber has done before doesn't mean that they own that idea. Because like I know for a fact that when you did the Stain Deku one, a lot of people were saying that you stole from Plus Ultraman, and that really annoys me. When people think that just because someone more popular has done it before means they own the idea. I know
Yeah,
for
I was aware when I was doing that series. I knew a lot of people are gonna criticize me for that, so immediately I made sure in the description I put a disclaimer, and people still criticize me for it, which is funny.
yeah, I still remember this comment to this day, but I a few like I think it was about a year ago, I did what if Turles turned good, and I uploaded it. It was fine, and like a few months later, I know that Solid Sane did the exact same what if, and I got a comment saying that I stole from Solid, and I was like, dude, look at the upload date. I uploaded it before him. It was just really dumb because I know his did way better than mine. It really irked me. I'm like, dude, I did it before. It was just dumb.
Yeah, I think the only time I end up issues is if someone literally plagiarizes another person, but there's only a few instances where I can say it happened. Most of the time, they usually deviate or they're called out for it, and usually just quit or whatever. So, luckily, it hasn't happened too much lately.
Yeah, most people like to make their own motives because
But there is one issue I've been having lately, which is this is mostly with some foreign channels or kids. Basically, they steal stuff from fanfiction.net and just title it as a what if. And I know Anime Sage, he does streams every once in a while just to call these people out. And he correlates whatever their video to the exact fanfiction. And he's done that. That's about twice now.
that that really annoys me because it's like they didn't do any of the work. All they doing is just reusing someone else's uh ideas. It really is annoying when they plagiarize like that.
Yeah, I don't call out people too much, but I will say if people are ever interested in when they happen, just check out Sage's channel. He usually does stuff like that. But as far as other questions I have, what keeps you making what if content instead of giving up or switching your content?
Mainly because I do like to write, and I like to write my own versions of stories. I need to get back on it.
Speaking about getting back to things, do you have advice to people who either feel like quitting making what if content or just wanting to quit YouTube in general because of burnout or whatever?
Uh, I would say to make other content besides what if, give them a try. Maybe still upload like a what if here and there, but try to do other content while you get back into the mood of maybe doing what ifs or just getting back into YouTube because burnout is annoying to deal with, but you just gotta do other stuff because I've suffered through it myself, burnout with what ifs and stuff. But if you make other content while you're waiting to get that passion to do what ifs or YouTube again, just do other stuff. It's honestly the best advice I could give.
I noticed that you've been streaming a lot lately, doing live streams for what ifs. What do you think of the concept of doing live what ifs?
It can be pretty fun. I haven't done like a live what if because I usually just have people, send me suggestions and I'll give my quick synopsis, yeah, on what I think would happen. But doing a live what if would you would have to do like a lot of pre-planning because you have to decide what would happen then and there. But yeah, I would say that if you're doing a live what if, you should have like people. You should have options and have the people vote for it, and you give what you think would happen. It's fun though.
All right. Something interesting I want to ask is, what do you think of the concept of rapid fire what ifs?
I do enjoy it. I've done my own little, I guess, my own version of it, just the quickies where I just sit down and record and think about it on the spot, which can be fun, but also leads to a lot of mistakes. But I know you've done it before, where you have a bunch of other people with you, which makes the what if interesting, because then other people can just say, "Oh, this happens" instead of that. I think it's interesting.
Anyways, I will say, would you ever want to come on to one of those whenever get those back up? I know it's been a while since I've done one, but it's mostly because they're just hard to organize, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'd be willing to join. It sounds like fun.
Yeah, I will say the concept was very interesting because I know after we did that, Masako started his podcast doing live what ifs, Mugstick, Karthu, like everyone else just started doing like his live streams. And it's like the concept was still there, but the format that I use still hasn't been done by not too many other people, really. The idea of just each person only has a minute to describe what the beginning part, they just have to pick up from it.
Yeah, it is a unique idea.
I have been thinking of other fun ideas, so I was thinking of running a what if through Google Translate and just reading that. I don't know what the results will be, but I've been considering doing that for a video. Maybe as a collab or something, just react and just read whatever it came up with.
Yeah, I've had that idea before too, but I've never thought of actually like going through with it.
I think that's the thing with my channel in particular, because I started introducing the concept of reviewing what ifs, even though they're corporate what ifs by Screen Rants and CBR. And honestly, it was pretty fun doing those with Sal. Honestly, I know he's gonna start doing what ifs as well, which I am excited for that, honestly, considering that he does have a decent background in Dragon Ball for sure, and knows probably how to structure something,
Oh yeah, he's got a massive background on it.
Yeah, it really impresses me, stuff that he knows. Like, I think I asked him, I forget what I asked him, but he just had a long-winded explanation that made sense and stuff, and it's like, it's just how it is, I guess. What do you think of like a bridge series like Dragon Ball Abridged, like Dragon Ball Z Abridged? Do you think that is kind of in the premise of what ifs, or you think that's more in the line of not really its own universe, but more meant to create parody in a sense? Because some people say that it does feel more of like a what if because it improves upon original Z, but other people say it's more just meant to be homage. What do you think about people think about that?
I would say it's more in line of the parody route, mainly because they do have their own, like, I guess their own little universe, because obviously like in Dragon Ball Z Abridged they kill off Captain Ginyu, and in the timeline the actual Dragon Ball, he never dies. At least not until Resurrection F. But I still think it's like more in the parody line, because not much really changes. It's only like little minor details that they change, unless they like somehow edit out an entire character. But yeah, I think it's more in line parody rather than what ifs.
I think the interesting thing that I looked at was when they had Android 16 still alive. That was very interesting that they did that.
Oh yeah, they did do that.
Well, I think that was in Kaya Bridge, but that was still interesting. That's like, I'm not dead this time, or something like that.
Yeah, he walks off the screen. Yeah.
And also his backstory was expanded on more than the original, for sure.
Well, they did give him a bit more of a character, but for the most part, his backstory was always the same, even in the DBZ abridged. He was always modeled after Jiro's son.
Well, I mean, like they explained it in the series versus.
Oh yeah, rather than Toriyama just saying it.
I think what I enjoyed was the fact that I was remembering part 6 for What If Goku stayed single and how that became a mess, and that was because of the abridged series, because I thought that Wish Technicality and Nappa should have been alive somehow. It's like, wait a second, he wasn't alive in the original. How did they come up with that? Which I thought was funny.
I mean, yeah, you can yeah, because because technically, yeah. I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Well, it was a technicality, though. Someone could interpret it that way, and it kind of makes sense.
I guess it was just the way Shenron interpreted it. Like, oh, you mean the ones on Namek, rather than
in general, which
that
could have meant a lot of things. So depending on whoever Frieza took out, but that's something for another day to think about.
It really is.
So, if you were to quit making what ifs, what other type of content would you consider doing?
If I were to quit what ifs, probably kind of defaulting to like manga reviews, anime reviews, other review shit. Honestly, maybe like take your stick and review other what ifs.
Yeah, I think that's been pretty entertaining. I know that there's another YouTuber who asked permission for them to review me, and I was like, sure you can. And I'm gonna see what that video turns out like, because he's been reviewing other what if YouTubers, and that's something that I considered in the past, you know?
Yeah.
The thing is that when I look at Screen Rants or CBR, I view them as a corporate entity, and when I view the Pojo stuff, I just view it as a relic of the past that didn't know about Super. So there's so much continuity stuff that changes over time because of that, due to retcons and whatnot.
Yeah, there is a lot of like old what ifs and fan fictions that they never had like that future vision, you know. So it becomes more of a mess because like we never knew about Super, meaning a lot of people just default to like GT and stuff.
Yeah, because that's as far as they went. Like this is back around 05, I believe, when GT came out.
And it still is technically the farthest we've gone in the timeline. Because Super's its own thing, its own timeline. So I guess you could say that those fanfiction / what ifs take place in, you know, the GT timeline rather than Super. But because like now we could say stuff like, oh, Goku was born with whatever, and we still wouldn't know what the consequences would be because Super is not even done yet. We still have that whole granola arc that we still don't know a lot of stuff. we're no better. We're a little bit better than the people who wrote it back then.
I guess do a small correction for my GT thing. I meant 2003. 2005 is when they quit airing it, but that was close enough. That was only 2 years off. It's not bad.
Oh, damn.
Well, this is for the dub. The dub came out in 2003 through 2005.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes a lot more sense. Just dub.
But it came out in Japan in the 90s, so that's why it has that aesthetic.
And it's still a very beautiful aesthetic.
Oh, yeah. I will plug Dragon Ball GT Abridged here, and that's it. I'm not going further. Go check out Dragon Ball Network. You can go watch the episodes there if you ever want to, for people who might be interested in that, I guess. So,
yeah.
I guess this is something I should have asked earlier. Do you have any advice for people who ever want to start making what-if content?
Yeah, like I've said earlier, don't pigeonhole yourself into one series, and yeah, make it your own what if. Don't just copy off other people, because that could lead to it just doesn't make it that interesting. But yeah, add your own twist to stuff and try to keep it consistent, because that means hopefully the views on sequels will be higher. Yeah. Also, don't pigeonhole yourself to anime only, because I know a lot of people who have done like video games, for example, and I want to do Power Rangers, but I'm not entirely sure about that yet.
I know someone who does Sonic what-ifs, and they're like at 80K something. They're doing really good with that. That definitely impressed me when I saw that. It's like, I didn't know the Sonic fandom was that big into what-ifs.
Yeah, you see? Do stuff like that. Okay, who knows? You might be the next PewDiePie. Who knows?
I will say this. Have you ever considered making a second channel to do a different type of what-if content?
I do have a second channel, but it's not for like what-if content. It's mostly just for mostly just Power Rangers right now, but for anything that isn't anime. If it's a what-if, I'll probably just throw it on my main channel and see how well that does.
Because I was thinking of an idea of basically creating a separate channel to do cartoon what-ifs initially, but then I was like, you know what? I don't care how I'm on my main channel. I still want to do it. And even though I only have 3 currently, I still want to keep getting into it, because there's people in the fandom who like what I'm doing. The problem is not enough people are interested in it for me, so it's like, I still want to finish the story, but at the same time, it's like, I kind of wish to continue the collaboration aspect, because 2 of them are collabs. Only one is something that I can still do myself and feel confident doing,
Yeah. Yeah, I would say I'm not sure about those specific what-ifs, continue them, but I would say continue doing like cartoon what-ifs, because then you'll attract more people and it'll let you do it more often, I guess.
I think with me, I want to consider just expanding to different ones. I think that's what my end game is going to eventually be, but I do want to finish one of them, because one of them is actually just only needs 1 part and it'll be done. So I might just do that at some point when I get the chance,
Yeah, I definitely.
Like, do you have a what-if that's kind of like that only needs like a few parts to finish?
I would say, I'm not entirely sure. I would say one that I'm working on right now, definitely. But other than a couple, not really. Most of them usually take like 4 or 5 parts.
Yeah, because I know with people like Anime Sage, plus Ultra, a bunch of them, recently they've been doing combined videos that put all the parts in. Like, I do want to reach that stage, obviously, but the problem is, if you can't do sequels, you can't do that. So it creates a pretty interesting paradox from my perspective with that.
Yeah, that's why I haven't like finished most of my what-ifs, because That's why I haven't done like the whole combining them together, because most of them don't get finished.
I will say here's something funny. There is one that I do have a combined one for, but it's for one that didn't even finish, which
Was
is
it
my favorite.
was it the Deku Green Lantern one?
No, it's What If Alexander Anderson trained Deku. That series never completed because me and Anime Sage were disappointed with the views on the last part. So it's like, well, we're not going back to it. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
But like the funny part about that one too is we had part 5, it was completely written, and part 6 was like half written, and we just chose not to continue, basically because we both lost interest into keep continuing it, basically.
Yeah, that's a major problem when it happens. Oof.
I will say, for anyone who is a fan of that series, the only way we will go back to it is that we want to fix part 1. Because the other parts are up to par to what we currently do, but the problem is part 1 just has pretty horrible editing, which is my fault, honestly, due to a rendering error. Then we just uploaded it, I guess, because it looked okay. And yeah, that's the story behind that, really.
Well, are you ever gonna go back and redo that video?
Well, that's what I'm saying. For anyone who is a fan, we're considering that. That's what me and Sage had talked in the background, but that's all that I can disclose to those people, unfortunately, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I guess this brings another question. Do you feel regret for not finishing a What If for people who might be a fan of it?
Not really. There are some What Ifs I do want to get back to because I never finished them, but the views aren't there for me to go back and do them. So I don't really feel that much regret for it. Like, I know the Goten, because I did a What If Goten was born first, which I kind of want to redo, but I never finished it, mainly because the last part I did on it got like 1,000 views or so, and I was like, nah, it would have to get like 2,000 views for me to like really get back to it. So I'm sorry for those of you who actually like that What If, but yeah, I'm probably not gonna go back to it anytime soon.
Is there anything you'd like to tell my audience before we end here?
Yes. Like, subscribe, and tell me down below why Drew didn't finish the Green Lantern What If.
Do you want that answer now? I can tell you if you've been watching it. Okay, so I made a video that's either deleted or it's on the second channel where I said I was going to remaster the first 3 parts due to it not being up to par. So currently, part 3 has been rewritten. It's been fixed because the issue of part 3, if you ever go back to watch it, I completely blew over the sports festival and did not write that properly at all. That was my bad, honestly. And that just needs to be corrected. So I'm going to do that, maybe redo part 4. And that's going to be it. I'm going to get back into the series because there's enough to anime out that I can continue it, which was also another issue because when part 6 initially came out, there's only one or two other arcs that came after, and that would have stopped the What If, which I didn't want to do, so I just left it off, basically. And yeah, I will say that part 3, I'm going to try to get that done within either this month or next month, and try to release it. And I will say, if you like comic book crossovers with Deku, I think What If Deku became the Juggernaut, which I'm currently doing with My Hero My Life, is one of my more favorite ones compared to Green Lantern.
Yeah, I was watching that earlier.
Because it's really interesting when you give Deku the Crimson Gin of Sidorak due to how overpowered it is for this universe. And it's kind of like if you have One Punch Man and MIJ kind of to a degree. The only difference is that Deku can't control himself due to how his powers work, essentially, which is kind of fun. And also consequences to jokes / actual story plot lines that occur if you're far enough in Dex.
I think I got halfway through the second part.
You know what happens to Bakugo then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that part was funny because like the heroes were just standing by and chose not to save him for whatever reason. And that was one of my favorite parts because there's nothing established that anyone would have tried to save Bakugo, so it's like you could write that in, and it kind of makes sense.
But wasn't the sludge monster trying to get his body?
Yeah, you need to keep watching the next few parts. That will come to place. Not gonna spoil anything.
Okay, I'll definitely keep an eye. I'll definitely keep an eye out for it.
All right.
Wait, I also want to say to your audience to go check out his second channel, his extended universe
gameplay channel.
Yes.
All right. Oh yeah, we played Among Us and we had a really good imposter run. I think people might like that video, honestly.
It was really good. That's all I can say.
Anyways, this has been Dex Comics. Be sure to check him out at the end card here. And if you have other stuff you want to ask him, maybe if I do another one for maybe 2022 or whenever, just ask questions down below and maybe we'll get to those. And this has been What If Universe. And always remember, in a What If Universe, there are endless possibilities. And I'll see you in the next thing that you watch on this channel. I don't know. Bye-bye.
Hello everyone, Uncle Joker here. Make sure to subscribe to the Society if you want to see more content, and use those opposable thumbs of yours to rate the video. If you want to be notified whenever I make a joke, hit that bell, because, you know, YouTube isn't enough of a joke as it is. Until next time, toodaloo!